When did you start filming and how did it happen?
Filming started for me in Chicago. I grew up in America with my mom. I was born in Lithuania and I moved to America when I was 10. At 15 years old, I started skateboarding. And when I started skateboarding, the thing about skateboarding, the lifestyle is about filmmaking. So people make videos all year long, doing tricks off stairs, onto blocks, you know, and make movies for their sponsors, just like drifting, you know what I'm saying? And I skated, I started filming, I turned 16, 17, and my mom bought me a 350Z.
Okay.
My first car. I was pretty lucky. It was automatic.
Not so lucky.
I thought I had the choice. I could have took manual, could have took automatic, and I was like, I don't want to sit in traffic. I don't know how to drive manual. I was like, let's go with automatic. And then the next week, Tokyo Drift comes out, and I'm like, whoa, my car is the bad guy's car. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, cool, this is drifting. Looks really fun. I left the movie theater, got into my 350Z. Well, you know, the e-brake didn't really work, but brake, gas, make it spin, and then start, you know, doing donuts outside of the movie theater. So that's where it kind of got started. It came from skateboarding, but then when I got into cars, I looked up on YouTube about drifting, street drifting in particular. And in Chicago, there was a big scene known by the guys called Risky Devils. And they were like the cool guys coming up to the car shows, you know, the gang, the clique, very mysterious, very JDM, very low, you know what I'm saying? And everybody always wanted to hang out with them because they knew that those guys will go out in the city late at night and go slide around where they're not really supposed to.
Okay, so what happened after that?
So in America, I got into drifting. Skateboarding was put in the back shelf, you know what I'm saying? Like skateboarding was like kind of forgotten. It was like drifting is that thing, you know, that's so cool. I have a car. I got a manual car right after. I was like, I traded it in. I lost like $5,000 on it, but I was like, fuck it. I have a manual now. I figured out how to drift. I got to know the guys and I started filming like car events in Midwest called Midwest Drift Union, Drift Indie, for people like Edgar and Nick Swan. Big people in American drift industry, to be honest. So it was a nice start. But then I had to leave to Europe. And when I went to Europe, I picked up a magazine in Sweden. And it was like called, actually, I don't remember what it was called, but like it was like a JDM magazine, but like in Norwegian language or Swedish language, Scandinavian. And it had all the dates of Drift Allstars. And I saw that Lithuania had in Kaunas, there's gonna be Drift Allstars coming. And I was like, I need to go to that for sure. There was also Riga, there was like Austria, Prague, all those places, but like Lithuania and Riga, for sure, I was like, I had to be there.
I think it was 2014. And
maybe 13.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
That period.
Yeah, so what happened after that? So when I got to Lithuania, there was still a few months before Drift Allstars was coming to Lithuania. So I went to places like Dvarkimis. It's a known Lithuanian place, pretty iconic, where a lot of drifting was happening. I knew guys from Team Beat, also a pretty known Lithuanian street crew. I bought a S13 like the first week I got here. So I had my own little street drifting car. And back then in Lithuania, you could get away with like driving recklessly if you got caught by the police.
No.
Now, no, not anymore. But back then you could just give like 50 litas, you know, to the police officer after you get pulled over and they would just like, you know, let you off. Nowadays you can't get away with that, but like that's what I did. I just started making videos with my friends, stuff like that. And then this guy named Mantas, he had this championship called EEDC, Eastern European Drift Championship, and he had a round in Poznan. So I went with him to Poznan and I made some footage there. He was impressed. Then he took me to Riga event. It was like Riga and Scandinavian combined event, and I did a thing there. And then when I went to Lithuania to Drift Allstars, that's when shit got serious. I met this guy named Niall, and I met this guy named Vince. And Vince is a filmmaker who makes movies. but he does drifting as his like for fun hobby side thing. And Niall was like the big boss. He was the owner of Drift Allstars. So basically he said, yo, you do a good job. Do you want to come with? And I just joined this circus and I traveled with Drift Allstars for like 6 years after that.
How big was your salary these days?
For free, bro. I went, in the beginning, I just went for the ticket, man. I went for at least a year just from survival, which isn't bad because you don't get paid, so they know you don't got money. So when they eat, you eat, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's okay. I was like a child. I was like a kid, you know, holding on to dear Nile gun, you know, and he took care of me and we made some amazing stuff. I think that was like when you were the most hungriest, you know, that was the beginning. So that's when you were open for everything. Money wasn't an issue. You just wanted to make stuff, you know, and it was good. That first year of just traveling with Nile, we made this movie called Eurotrip. And it was pretty popular. I think it got like 400,000 views on YouTube back then. And it's destroyed because of copyright, because it was just like, I was a novice, like a amateur kid, you know, filming. So I just put my favorite songs onto it and just like a skate video, made this 58-minute video that we dropped at Drift Allstars round 1 the following year at like the opening round in London, you know, which was awesome. But during that time, we worked with Martin Richards, Mark Webb, who was an X Games medalist, BMXer, and a drifter. We worked with James Deane since the beginning, before he had a beard, when he was like a little kid as well. Connor was, I think, 7 years old, Connor Shanahan. Jack was 11, 12. I mean, I think a lot of those people that were there are still here now. But it definitely feels like it's the end of generation now, because back then that was like the very beginning. Everybody was brand new, you know. Martin was still, you know, he didn't even know Tess, who's about to be his wife now. Bagsy wasn't there really, I don't think. Nigel Colfer was there for sure. Good times, Nigel Colfer. Shout out, Nigel.
Karkosik probably.
Karkosik, but he's still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Karkosik's Peter Viacek.
Yeah.
He was back then driving for Drift Allstars, and he was in that really funny looking yellow R34 Skyline. Oh, that thing was hideous.
Valdma from Estonia.
Valdma. Oh my God, Harold Valdma. He was amazing. He had a really good like style. Like his BMW stood out, even though we were in Europe and there's a gazillion BMWs. His BMW was perfect. Yep. Team Poos was there back then. That was probably one of the best teams. The 3 E30s that were like super badass built cars, but you know, they weren't like some cheap Huliganka or whatever, E30, you know, but like they were like proper stance, 200K sideways type of drift machine, you know. And back then, Lithuanian track Nemun Ring, that was really nice. Like the entry at 200 down the hill, the Supra, the Russian guy. Yeah. Sergey.
Nagula? What's your name here?
He has the Supra. Yeah. Sergey. Who jumped over. Yeah. Who jumped over the fence and the one
into the river.
Yeah, and the filmmaker broke his hand or something like that because he was standing there. Yeah, crazy times. Those are crazy times.
What went after that?
So Drift Allstars
began to fade.
Yeah, began to fade. I think what happened was the following year, Drift Allstars got a new big title sponsor, Extreme TV, and basically that's where it all went wrong. People trying to fight for who's the boss there, and there was maybe like a lack of trust going on. So slowly, the amount of people going there became less, as in like working. Slowly it was just me and Niall going to events, just me and him. And in the beginning, it was like 7-people team doing the media, you know what I'm saying? Okay. At the end of it, it was just me. Then I think there was a big fight between the Extreme and Drift Allstars now, and Drift Allstars became owned by Extreme, and we moved on and we made a new championship called Drift GP. Yeah. And that was pretty good. That was a good, nice return to how it used to be. But at the same time, Drift GP came out, then Drift Masters comes out. That was the big situation, you know, because now there was 2 big drift championships in Europe, and Drift Masters had the craziest budgets. They used to have like, it looked like F1, like they had like so many people coming and working there. There was more people working than people coming to watch.
I think in 2017 or 2018, if you got to top 16, you even got €1,000.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, actually, yeah. That was crazy.
And winner got at least 8.
Yeah, can you imagine the maths? They were spending like millions of dollars to start off this whole situation, you know?
And I remember in 2017, such names appeared like Juha Poitolakso also.
Yeah, Juha was sick. He is sick. He's still sick. You know who I miss the most? Eglita.
Yeah.
Eglita. I wish she stayed in the E30. You know what I'm saying? The Forest Beast was amazing, honestly. It was a good car for him, a good evolution, but I feel like he had way too many problems with that car. And with the E30, the man was on top. You know what I'm saying? He was beating James Deane, you know, it was good. Christoph's Blues as well. He was really nice. Oh. So at 2016, 17, Drift GP stopped, I think something around then. And I was out of a job. Drift Masters was going on, but I didn't really want to do drifting anymore. I was kind of like burnt out. Maybe not drifting, I just didn't want to do a championship anymore. So I moved on and I went to Lunatics by Nature, and we worked with Sheikh Khalifa, Danny Neville, and Sultan Al Qasimi on a project in Abu Dhabi and Dubai called Lunatics by Nature. So it was their drift team, basically. So I made media for them. Just hung out with them for a good year. And after that, I moved back to Lithuania. I started a clothing line. I did that for 2 years. And after the clothing line, I started going into Drift Masters because Drift Games came into Drift Masters and they took over the media. So slowly Drift Masters started becoming from a Polish European championship to just the European championship, you know? And during that time, while I was doing clothing, while I was doing Lunatics by Nature, Drift Games, Dave Egan, Josh, Kean, all those boys did a great job with Irish Drift Championship. And I think that was the era of IDC, you know, Irish Drift Championship, because I think the whole world was shocked how well a small country like Ireland was producing such a high quality event, entertainment, you know, live stream, everything was perfect. And I think that's when Drift Masters was like, you know what? How is this Irish Championship doing a better job, you know, than our European $2 million budget championship? And I think that's when they said, let's work together, you know, and they moved away from doing IDC and started doing Drift Masters. And that's when I was invited. I worked many times with Dave Egan. When I was part of Drift Allstars, we had a lot of events called Drift Allstars versus Irish Drift Championship. And basically, we had a really good relationship. And he says, Josh and him said that, like, without you, there's no Europe Championship. You know what I'm saying? So us together all went in and started doing Drift Masters under the name of Drift Masters.
Yeah, what do you like most about Drift Masters?
I think working with Josh, Dave, and all those guys, I think Drift Masters is an amazing event. It's definitely the top event, and it's consistent. You know what I'm saying? It's it always runs smooth. There's never any issues. Since we all started working together there, it only went up. You know what I'm saying? It only grew. Now it's just getting better in details. Fine details are getting better, you know? I am a bit worried about the championship. I think that in the future, I think there needs to be more exciting changes, because I feel like now we're a little bit plateauing, you know, on the growth, you know? And exactly. And I think we need to bring in some new stars from all over the world, you know, to make this maybe more like a world championship, you know what I'm saying? I feel like we need to combine with America and with Europe, with Asia, and, you know, make it like a bit of a rivalry, you know? And I mean, in some sense, that is what's about to happen. Nakamura is coming to Drift Masters from D1.
Roman Pera, rally champion.
Yeah.
So you're traveling a lot in the world. Can you compare other championships, maybe in the Middle East, Japan?
Only championship I haven't been to is Formula D, and Drift Masters is my base. So this year D1 was the new experience for me. So for me, D1 is a lot more political than Drift Masters. In D1, there's I think like 4 tire sponsors. So like it's a lot more political with who wins and stuff like that. It feels a bit weird, to be honest, when I was there. Like I don't understand the language, so I'm just like trying to catch vibes, you know? And it seems like people sometimes give bad calls, like judges give bad calls, or, you know, just to advance a certain guy up because of his sponsorship with a certain tire brand. Yeah. And that's kind of sucks, because that takes away from the competition for me. And Drift Masters, I think it's pretty good in that sense. It has 1 tire sponsor, but like it still has issues with tires. We all know that there's in the track, there's a lot of issues with, you know, Valinos and, you know, other drivers that do not have Valinos as their sponsor, you know, they have to deal with, you know, their own sponsor tires. They have issues with people driving in Valinos because Valinos have an upper edge right now.
Well, let's talk more about that.
Yeah.
What's your opinion about tires? Where should be a mono tire or maybe very cheap mono tire? What's your opinion on that?
I'm not an expert on tires, but the first time I ever seen Valinos, Martin Richards won with them in Riga, Drift Masters, against, or was it FIA?
I think it was against Gotcha
in
Riga,
exactly.
2018,
FIA,
probably
right?
in Riga.
Yeah. So he was the first guy with Valinos, Martin Richards, and he showed me the tires. You could literally put in a normal day, not too hot, you could just push the tire in and you leave a mark, you know, and. Yeah, I mean, I always ask before that, how come tire brands never make tires for drifting? You know, like, how come it's so difficult? You know, because I feel like they sponsor the drivers, so they probably could do it. But I have an answer now. A company like Valino is a smaller company. They have the capability, because they're such a small brand, so not a small brand, they're such a smaller size company, you know, they still don't have the market on, you know, the regular cars, you know, regular travel. So they don't have to meet a lot of different safety requirements. So for them, the drift tire is just for drifting, you know? So they could be competitive and they can grow and promote their brand in these championships against brands like Falcon, you know? So
who adapts the
yeah,
tire
exactly. Who has to have like millions of dollars of research and development to make sure that that is safe at all possibilities, at all possible moments that tire could delaminate or something could happen, that they know that it'll be perfect and there's no lawsuits coming up. So that's why a company like Valino, who's smaller but is able to adapt, can compete against companies like Falcon at drifting, and a regular schmo will think that, like, holy crap, maybe Valino is a better company than Falcon, you know?
Yeah, but different requirements.
Yeah, exactly.
For sport and for street.
Exactly, for a regular road. Yeah, it's all in safety, right?
Yeah. So describe your racing weekend. When you arrive, when you leave, how long do you work?
Right. Usually I roll up on like the Wednesday. Wednesday we just set up, you know, find our hotels, meet everybody, get some food, you know, click. Then Thursday usually is like the day before, when everybody is like coming in, all the guys are coming into the track, setting up their pits. That's where we can, you know, set up our shop. You know, we can check out the venue. You know, we can talk to some drivers, make some shots of people rolling up with their trailers, offloading, make a little bit of a promo, you know, do some editing, maybe hit up some people for some interviews, just to build up for content for later. And just do a little bit of editing, so you have some stuff already in place, some music in place, some interviews in place for the next day when you have qualifying. If you've been to that track before, you can just pick some footage from last year, you know, just to make a montage. People coming in, some drifting, you know, some talking, some promo. And then the next day usually is practice qualifying. So we'll, you know, rock up for practice, for briefing, get some shots of those things. It always depends what's going on, what's the drama, which angle we're going to, you know, which part of the year it is it the end of the year, is it the beginning? So that will dictate what kind of content we make. You know, maybe it's about fans, maybe it's about a driver, maybe it's about two people at the top.
Collision,
yeah, exactly. So during practice and qualifying, we try to make content for the next day and the next week as well. Because basically during the last day when we have battles, that's when we usually try to start producing content onto the Instagram, publishing stuff, and basically just make some stuff for the time frame when it's between rounds, right? So when we leave the event, when it's all over, we have a little bit of a party and we change footage and we go when we don't have to do any after movies or anything like that afterwards. Usually Drift Games, Josh and Blaine, they probably handle anything like that they need because we don't need too many promos. Just one before the year, I think, and sometimes one before the round.
Yeah, have you got some scary moments during filming? Some
scary moments, I think. I can't think of something that happened directly to me, but I had moments, you know, where, you know, you're standing in a place where the rocks come at you. Actually, no, I do remember. In Hungary, I was standing at this place at the first initiation where Frederick Oxnevad, Fred Ox, was coming really fast at top speed, and he like messed up. He understeered into the barrier, but he like fixed it last second. And where I was standing, there was literally like a sheet metal fence between me and him, and he was going like 120, 140, you know? And like it's a Soarer, you know, it's a SC300. Yeah. It's a big car to get hit by. And it literally felt like, okay, if he would have messed up there, I would have died. Another one was probably, it wasn't scary because I was just stupid. When I filmed Eurotrip with James Deane, there's this shot where we're in Watergrass Hill go-kart track and we're shooting him drifting the FD RX-7. And I trusted him, and I was very young. So I literally like laid down on the ground with like a 5D and a 20 millimeter lens, just on the ground, yeah. And I just pulled it as he's just drifting through the track, and I'm in the middle of the track, and he like, I don't know, like 3 meters away at like 80, just completely with a tire, like where like dust hit me in the face. And that was pretty crazy. What else? I've definitely had many moments where I crashed.
Like a driver.
Yes. And those moments are not scary as in like, oh, it's so scary, but I'm scared of those moments now because like I really don't want those moments to keep on happening because I have way too many. I've crashed so many drift cars in my life. And I don't really drift that much.
There is quite a tricky situation in Oman with media.
Yeah, so I was media for Oman for like 3-4 years, like official media. And it was an amazing time. It was amazing growth. Oman Automobile Association is a great company and they do a good job. But like every company, I think there comes a time when you try to cut, you know, budget. And put the budget maybe somewhere else, you know? And what happened last year, before this year, when I was still working officially, there was a kid that hit me up. And he's like, hey man, can I come just learn from you? And I brought him, I showed him what I do and, you know, gave him like 30% of information. He probably picked up only 10% of that, you know? And this year, nobody called me, you know? And I was like, shit, what is going on? Because that was like a big paycheck, you know, that was like that good amount of work where I would work hard all month, but then for the next 3 months, I could just chill because the next 3 months are off season for me, you know? Next 3 months after Oman is just dead, you know? You're just in Lithuania surviving till the Drift Masters starts up again in April. And I didn't get that job, you know? So I was like, shit, maybe I should still go there and try to talk to some drivers, you know, because I've been there for a long time. I feel important. I feel like I'm family, you know? I feel like we all can still make money. So I was like, fuck it. I bought my tickets to Oman myself. I called my friends from Oman. I stayed with them. And I was like, yo, let me crash here and we'll figure something out. And when I went to the rounds, I couldn't find work, man. I couldn't find work. And that's terrible because like, if I can't find work, then I probably won't come back, you know? And if I don't come back, the media is gonna die down, you know what I'm saying?
What was the reason?
Basically, I got one job at my normal fare price, and which is 1,500 euros, you know, for a project, for the weekend, you know? Wait, 1 second. Yeah, 1,500 euros. And I got it for 2 weekends from one guy from Saudi, Majid. And he's a driver that's new to Oman, you know, so it's his first season. He's, his car is still very basic. It's very beat up. He doesn't have a strong team, you know, taking care of him, so he's not very competitive. Sadly, Majid didn't qualify in either of the rounds. So the second round, I just gave him a 50% off on the thing because I felt bad, you know, like it's risky for them to, you know, pay me money if they can't qualify as well, because then we can't really, you know, make them a video that they were hoping for, and it's a kind of a sad weekend for them. So I done him a deal, so right there I lost some money as well, you know. But the problem with other drivers, because I thought maybe, you know, I'll pick up like 4, 5, 6 drivers, you know, I'll do a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there. Everybody's gonna be happy. I have 6 happy clients, you know, I'll make maybe, you know, 5 grand or something, and I can go home, you know, chill for a little bit until Drift Master starts up. Regarding the kid that I gave 30% knowledge. So next year when I didn't get the call, I come to find out when I come to the place that the guy that I was teaching went under me and started working with the company, you know, and I don't know what their deal is. I'm sure he's not making that much, and I'm sure they have much more control on the content, because before they would just let me do my thing. They never asked me to change anything, and they were happy always. But I'm sure that he's probably not as experienced, you know, he can't handle it on his own. So they're putting a lot more work on it, which is also maybe good for them because they can develop it for their vision, you know? But when I came back this year, another kid hit me up and asked me to, can I follow you around and learn from you? And I'm like, this time I'm a bit like, not trustworthy, you know? It's a bit like, I feel like a bit salty about the last guy, you know what I'm saying? And like, but I was like, you know, it's okay, come through, you know? And I do meet up with him, and, you know, I talk to him, and I showing him how to shoot, showing him how the camera works, you know, and then he tells me, yo, I can't come tomorrow because I have 4 clients. You know, I'm like, oh, cool, you got 4 clients, good job. I only have 1. So my little saltiness was wondering, like, so how much did you charge? How much do you charge for a client? And what do? You know, what's your result? And he's like, yeah, I charge 3, and, you know, I do a reel. I'm like, 3,000? No, 3. 300? 33? No, 3. Which is, 3 Omar is $6. You know what I'm saying? And it costs 12 Omar to get a media pass. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have a camera. It costs 15 Omar to get a camera, you know? And I was just like shocked. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's terrible. Like, it's terrible. I mean, it doesn't even matter what kind of content he makes. I don't even need to see the content. I imagine it's not that good if he's asking me for help, and if he's charging only 3 and he doesn't have a camera. But what pissed me off was, and what I explained to him very nicely, that you're ruining it for everybody else. You as a media guy understand, you try to survive from this. I should be able to travel to these locations and make a living from them because I'm one of the best in the industry. You know what I'm saying? I've done it for everybody, you know, like it's not even being cocky. Like I've been in this game for 10 years. So this is like, if I can't live from this, then I need to think of a new job. You know, I need to start over. 32 years old, you know what I'm saying? I would love to be confident and comfortable now instead of being so like a 18-year-old still trying to figure shit out, you know? So hearing that this guy charges 3 Omar and he has 4 clients, that means out of 65 drivers, there's 4 guys that are off the table, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, if, you know, those 4 drivers, you know, could be like Clint, could be like, you know, important guys for you, you know? And before I was doing a documentary at LA McSeed, I did a lot of works for Daham. I did, you know, a lot of these guys, a lot of media works for in the past years, but everybody's trying to take a hold of YouTube themselves. You know, everybody's noticing how much money Adam LZ is making, how much money, you know, influencers are making on YouTube, YouTubers are making on YouTube, you know, and YouTube is what I'm trying to get into as well now. And it's hard, man. It's really hard. And everybody's trying to handle their own media now. And yeah, I think that's the new wave. You have to move on and adopt to what's next.
Did you have any ideas to do something for FD?
Actually, when Kristaps Blush was first going to Formula D, he asked me to do Formula D, but I told him before I do Japan, I'm not going back to America. Because, yeah, I mean, that was the thing. I left America for my own reasons, you know, and I moved to Europe. I did Europe, and the dream was Japan, you know. Okay. Now, I've done Japan. And the thing is, I have to commit for another season, another year now, you know. So there's no holding back. And now I have to do Japan and Europe, you know, at the same time. And there's like 3 rounds back and forth, like literally 3 days to get to Japan or to Europe, you know? So, but what I would love to do, what would be my dream is to get my boy Ryusei Akiba from Japan, the guy that I work with and I manage. And I would love to get this guy to Europe, Oman, Drift Masters, Formula D, D1. I would love to develop our things so well that one day that we could do, you know, 4 different championships all over the world, you know, and have cars in each continent. You know, me and him just fly over there, make content, participate, you know, talk to sponsors, do appearances, you know, boom, move to the next place, do the same thing all over and just live from that, you know, and have a 2 months off season, you know, build cars, have fun, you know, live that YouTube lifestyle that your boys like Adam LZ is living. You know, that's the dream, you know, but what I'm trying to do now is to stop worrying so much about what the dream is. Just enjoy now, you know what I'm saying? Like, trying to enjoy the process because I feel like nowadays it's so hard, but, you know, there is a big chance it's not going to happen for me, you know what I'm saying? And there's a big chance it's not going to happen for a lot of people. But without trying, you know, there's only a chance, you know?
Yeah, so what's going to happen in 5 years in your life?
Man, who knows? I will be either dead or I will make it. That's for sure.
Chasing your dream.
Always, man.
Okay, so name 3 drifters do you prefer to work with?
Nobody. I'm just kidding. Ryusei Akiba, number 1. That's my guy. That's my guy. For sure. I'm really excited to work with Nakamura. And 3rd, yeah, I think I really enjoyed working with the Shanahans, Jack and Connor. They're my boys. I love them and miss them. And they're really fun, good family. Really enjoyed working with them. If there was budget, you know, if we had budget, if we, you know, if financials were good and strong, yo, it would have been the best thing ever, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was amazing. But everything needs money, you know? Everything needs money for it to last and for it to sustain and grow and develop, evolve. Because at the level that we can do things now without a budget, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's really crazy. But as you grow up, you need stability. You need,
Sure.
you know, you need time to relax, time to have your own car and go for a spin. And yeah, that's why I love Japan. That's why I love living in Japan, because I have that. You know, I could work, edit with my driver, and then I could say, fuck it, go play with the simulator. Or say, fuck it, hop into my G35 and go drive, you know? So out in Europe, I don't have that. And yeah, I feel like I have a nice place now. I have a nice home, but I need to make some big moves and, you know, be able to enjoy my life a lot more. Because I want to drive too, man. I'd love to drive.
Okay, 3 drivers to watch.
This year, Nakamura, for sure. Tim Worley from Ukraine. I think that dude is going to kill it. He's 16 years old, and he drives like a man, like, you know what I'm saying? Fuck, Jack Shanahan, always fun to watch. I think he is one of my favorite drivers with driving style. I'm gonna name more than 3. I have much more. I feel like Daigo Saito is fun to watch in Japan, especially. I think Adam LZ is a good driver to watch out for, because he came from nothing. You know what I'm saying? He came from BMXing and from YouTubing, and you know, it's very interesting that his passion for the cars, you know, can take him all the way to Formula D through YouTube, you know, and he's a huge inspiration for me, you know, so I really hope that, you know, I can go in that path as well, you know, where one day, you know, YouTube and my own influence can bring me, you know, sponsors and cars and things like that to do, because I have so many ideas and so many goals that I want to reach, that it will be so much fun to watch on YouTube. And yeah, just need to figure all that out.
Okay, your top favorite tracks.
Ebisu, for sure. I love Ebisu because it has like 7 tracks. But if out of those 7, I'd say Nishi or West, Higashi, which is East. That one is really fun. But I'm more on a simulator on that. Then I really like Riga. Riga's for sure amazing. And I can do it on a simulator now too. So I know the feeling now, kind of, you know. Yo, you know what's a really cool track? The one in Estonia. The one with the really big hill, where it's like a jump.
In Kehela, probably.
Yeah. That one is just badass. Yeah. You know, it's like really cool to film. For sure. But I feel like Sweden, from last year's calendar, Sweden was my most favorite new track. Yeah, for sure.
Very, very fast.
But like Austria as well. From the side angle, it doesn't look that great because it looks like a big go-karting track, you know, but if you just erase from your mind everything, all the distractions, and you just look at the track, that entry is amazing.
Čirba.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. You know what? One of favorite drivers, Čirba. Thanks for reminding me, for sure. What I would like to say about Čirba is that it's really nice watching him, you know, like live, because he's Lithuanian and I'm Lithuanian. So when he's doing good in the international stage, I honestly tear up.
Okay, if you could change something in drifting overall, rules, judging.
I would bring in a lot more budget for things like media. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a lot of money.
Exactly. Like honestly, I think drift news and stuff like that is really important aspects of sports. You know, like you need to know the behind the scenes to appreciate something. For example, look at Formula 1. You can really see the difference when Netflix came out, and the interest from, you know, all generations now that watch Netflix. jumped up because they see the guys, they feel their characters, they feel their personalities, they see the girls they're dating, you know? People want to see that. I feel like that's important, you know? And I feel like that's what's missing. You know, like people don't know about Valinos or they don't know about Falcons unless they really get into it. And for it to reach a mainstream level where it could be, you know, compared to Formula One, you need to work with places like Netflix. Yeah. You need to work with strong brands that understand what quality and professional means, you know? And I think everybody that is in charge in drifting now, they just need to, you know, collaborate more, step back and see the whole elephant, you know, and compare and analyze to things that work and things that they want to become into, like Formula One, like football, like basketball. I'm not saying that we can ever be basketball or get the budget that they get, but damn, drifting is a sick sport. It's really interesting. It's a really good sport, you know? And I don't see why it's so low still, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Great talk.
Great talk.
So subscribe to Bandana's channel.
Yeah, hit me up, Bandana Street on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. Don't really post on TikTok yet, but we'll try. We drop videos every Wednesday and Sunday on my YouTube channel, so make sure to check it out. Make sure to follow Drift News. Peace. Peace.
Ačiū.